A humid night on a classified training ground somewhere in the southern Philippines. Two flags are planted in the dirt, the Stars and Stripes and the proud red-blue sun of the Philippines. In front of them stand 7 of the most lethal men on the planet, operators from the 1st Special Forces Operational Detachment Delta. Across from them, 7 Filipino scouts from the Elite Light Reaction Regiment and 1st Scout Ranger Regiment, guys most of the world has never even heard of. One of the Delta boys, a cocky staff sergeant from Texas, pulls out a fat stack of $100 bills, slaps it on an ammo crate, and says loud enough for everyone to hear, 10 grand says we smoke you in every single event. 7-0 easy day. The Filipino team captain, a quiet major with scars older than some of his men, just smiles, nods once, and says in perfect English, deal. But when we win, you go home quiet. No excuses, no stories. Just silence, the American laughs. The bet is on. 7 events, 1 week. Winner takes the cash and the bragging rights forever. By the end of day 7, the stack of $10,000 is in a Filipino rucksack, and the most elite unit in the entire U.S. military has just been publicly humiliated 7-0. They packed their gear, got on the C-17, and to this day, almost none of them have ever spoken about what really happened. But tonight, for the first time, you're going to hear the full story. Round by round, shot by shot, embarrassment by embarrassment. And trust me, by the time this is over, you'll never look at Tier 1 the same way again. Let's begin. The year was 2018, Joint Combined Exchange Training, or JCET, between U.S. and Philippine Special Forces had been running for years. But this particular rotation was different. Delta Force had been asked to send a training cadre to help sharpen the counterterrorism edge of the Light Reaction Regiment, the same Filipino unit that hunted down and killed the top ISIS commanders in the Marawi siege. Delta showed up with their usual swagger. These guys had done more real-world direct action raids in the last decade than most countries have done in their entire history. They rolled in with custom 416s, Night Force optics, Cry combat apparel that costs more than a used car, and that quiet American confidence that says, we wrote the book on this. The Filipinos? They showed up in faded woodland camo, mix-matched Salomon boots and rifles that looked like they'd been dragged behind a truck. Most of them were running basic M4s with ACOGs that had duct tape holding the battery caps on. On paper, this wasn't even a contest. The American team leader, call sign Reaper, gathered everyone on night 1 and laid out the challenge. 7 events, head-to-head, best unit wins the pot. The events were classic Special Forces Olympics, long-range marksmanship day and night, close-quarter battle house clearing, combat diving, infiltration, jungle stalking, and sniper duel direct action raid on a fortified objective, hostage rescue, live fire. The final stress event nobody saw coming, 10 grand on the table. Loser shuts up forever. Event 1 started at 0500 the next morning. 1,000-meter known distance and unknown distance shoot, day and night, iron sights or optics, shooter's choice. Delta was feeling good. They'd brought 2 former AMU shooters and 1 guy who'd won the All-Army Rifle Championship twice. Their spotter teams had Kestrels, ballistic computers, the works. The Filipinos showed up with 1 spotting scope between the entire team, an old loophole that looked like it survived the Vietnam War, and handwritten dope cards on pieces of cardboard. The American commander smirked and said, this one's over before breakfast. First string, 800 meters prone, 10 rounds, cold bore counts double. Delta shooter number 1 rings steel 9 out of 10, cold bore hit. Crowd of American cadre nodding like it's already done. Filipino shooter steps up. He's maybe 5'5", 130 pounds, soaking wet, call sign Ghost. Takes a knee, checks wind with a piece of yarn tied to his muzzle, fires 10 rounds in under 30 seconds. Gong dud gong. Gong 10 hits, cold bore smack in the middle. Range tower calls it, 198 Delta's favor, but barely. Night stage comes at NVG's IR lasers, 600 meters moving targets. Delta is running the best PVS-31s money can buy. PQ-15s on high power. They're painting the range like it's a video game. Filipinos are running ancient PVS-7Bs with cracked tubes, and 1 guy literally has a civilian D-bal he bought on eBay. But something starts happening. Every time Delta thinks they have a comfortable lead, the Filipinos claw it back. Ghost and his partner Daga shoot 100% on movers at night, something Delta only manages 92%. Final tally for Event 1. Filipinos won 9-10-46 points. Delta won 9-29, first blood to the Philippines. 10 grand still on the table, but the Americans are no longer laughing. If you're enjoying how badly this is already going for the most elite unit on Earth, do me a favor. Smash that subscribe button right now. Because it only gets worse for them from here and you do not want to miss what happens in Event 4. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, let's keep going. Event 2, CQB House Clearing. 2-story concrete shoot house, live hostages, live role players. Simunition only, but full contact. Fastest clean run wins. Any hostage shot or friendly fire is instant disqualification for that run. Delta lives for this. They literally built the most famous shoot house in the world at Bragg. They do this drunk, blindfolded on fire, and still get it done in under 30 seconds. Filipinos train in abandoned barangay buildings with zero budget. Their shoot house is usually just some ruined nipa huts with cardboard targets. The bet is best average time out of 5 runs. Run 1 Delta flows like water. Bang, 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 pie corners, perfect calls, dynamic entry. 28.4 seconds, 0 faults. Filipino team steps up. They don't even flow like Delta. They move like ghosts. No loud moving calls, no banging doors. They literally disappear into the structure. You hear muffled sim rounds, a few screams from role players, then silence. They exit the fatal funnel carrying the rescued hostage like he weighs nothing. Timer stops at 19.7 seconds. The American judge literally says, "What the hell just happened?" Runs 2 through 5 are a massacre. The Filipinos never break 22 seconds again, and they never once touch a hostage. Delta starts rushing, starts stacking too tight, and on run 4 one of their assaulters accidentally simunitions a role player in the face. Instant DQ for that run. Final average, Philippines 20.8 seconds. Delta 31.2, score now 2-0. The Delta team leader is starting to look sick. The 10 grand is looking very far away. Event 3, Combat Dive Infiltration. Night insertion from a CRRC rubber boat, 2 kilometers offshore, swim in full kit, weapons wrapped in condoms and trash bags, surface only once for GPS check, hit a beach RP in under 90 minutes, then exfiltrate back to the boat without being detected by roving patrols. Delta brought Draeger rebreathers and dry suits. These guys have done this from submarines in real life. Filipinos showed up with snorkels they bought at the mall and homemade dry bags made from rice sacks and duct tape. The boat drops them at the 2-click mark. Americans disappear underwater like pros. Filipinos surface swim the whole way because they don't have rebreathers, but they swim like dolphins. 78 minutes later, the Filipino team is already at the beach RP. Weapons dry, smoking cigarettes, waiting. Delta surfaces at 94 minutes, gasping. One guy hypothermic because his dry suit leaked. Patrols never even saw the Filipinos. They saw Delta from a mile away, 3-0. At this point, the American cadre is quiet. The trash talk has completely stopped. The only sound at night is Filipino operators laughing around a campfire telling stories in Tagalog. The Americans can't understand. Event 4 is the one that broke them. Jungle Stalker course and sniper duel. Rules: both teams insert into a 10 square kilometer box of triple canopy jungle. Each team has to photograph the other team's base camp without being detected. First team to get a confirmed foe of the enemy flag wins. If both fail, it goes to whoever gets closest without compromise. Live sniper observers with spotters are allowed to engage with airsoft pellets. Any hit is a confirmed kill and instant loss. This is Delta's world. They invented this game. They literally teach the course at the Svardaki. Day 1, Delta inserts silent. Ghillie suits that cost more than a car. They move 200 meters an hour, slower than continental drift. Filipinos disappear into the jungle wearing nothing but green t-shirts and face paint. No ghillie, just leaves stuck in their hair. 29 hours later, the Filipino spotter Daga crawls 800 meters on his belly, gets within 40 meters of the Delta camp, takes a crystal clear photo of their flag with a cell phone, and crawls out. Delta never even knew he was there. On the way out, he leaves a little calling card, a single playing card, the ace of spades, pinned to a tree with a knife, right in the middle of Delta's perimeter. Delta's counter-stalk team finds nothing. They get within 1.2 kilometers of the Filipino camp and get lit up by 3 airsoft pellets from 300 meters before they even see movement. 4-0. The Delta commander calls a timeout. He pulls his men together and you can see it on their faces. These guys are shaken. They've never been out-hunted in their lives. Event 5. Night direct action raid on a fortified compound. Full mission profile. Intel packet, air insertion via Blackhawk on NVGs, fast rope onto the X, breach clear sensitive site exploitation, exfil under fire. Delta finally feels back in their element. This is what they do for a living. They rehearse for 2 days straight, perfect rehearsals. Filipinos rehearse once, then spend the rest of the time fishing with hand grenades, I'm not joking. Night of the raid. Delta fast ropes in like gods of war. Breach charges go off, flashbangs, perfect sectors of fire. They clear the compound in textbook fashion. But when they get to the SSE room, the high-value target laptop is already gone, because while Delta was fast roping loud onto the roof, the Filipino assault team inserted on foot 3 hours earlier, walked right through the front gate dressed as local farmers, quietly zip-tied all the role players, stole the laptop, took selfies with the HVT actor while he was still alive, and walked out. By the time Delta was stacking on the roof, the Filipinos were already 3 kilometers away drinking beer. 5-0. Event 6 live fire hostage rescue. The one nobody wants to lose because real bullets, real hostages. The shoot house is rigged with pop-up targets. Hostages in white, bad guys in red. Any hostage hit is automatic loss. Fastest clean run with 100% hostage survival wins. Delta is running their best shooters. Suppressed 416s. Red dots zeroed that morning guys who can put rounds through the same hole at 25 meters. They flow in, perfect time, 42 seconds. 0 hostages hit, they finally get on the board. Filipinos step up, same battered rifles. One guy's literally running an M4 with a cracked stock held together by 550 cord. They breach, it's not even fair to call what happens next a run. It's art. They move so fast and so quiet that the range safety officers can't keep up. Final time 26 seconds, 0 hostages hit. And on the way out, the team leader stops, turns to the Delta observers and in perfect English says, "Sir, your hostages are safe." Coffee is on the table, 6-0. By now, the Americans aren't even mad anymore. They're in shock. Some of them are taking notes. One Delta operator is heard whispering, "Who the hell are these guys?" Event 7. The final event, the one nobody saw coming. The Filipino commander gathers both teams at Oro 400 on the last morning. No sleep, everyone is wrecked. He says only this, final event is simple. We call it humility. 1 man from each team. Knife-only jungle. Last man without a cut wins. No time limit. Delta looks at each other. They didn't train for this. This is some crazy Filipino prison rules stuff. They put up their biggest guy, a 6'3", 240-pound wrecking ball from Alabama, call sign Bear. Multiple combat tours, hand-to-hand instructor, arms like bridge cables. Filipinos put up a guy who can't be more than 5'6", 140 pounds. Call sign Pitbull. He's smiling like it's Christmas morning. They're given training knives with chalk on the blades. Any mark counts as a cut. They walk into the jungle, no refs. Just 2 men, 1 rule, first blood. 47 minutes later, Pitbull walks out alone. Shirt torn, smiling ear to ear, not a single chalk mark on him. Bear stumbles out 10 minutes after, covered in chalk slashes, lip bleeding, eyes wide like he just saw the devil. He doesn't say a word, just hands over the knife and walks away. 7-0, the $10,000 changes hands. The Delta team packs their containers that same day. No after-action review, no closing ceremony, no handshakes. They board the C-17 at Clark Air Base, and as the plane taxis, one of the younger Delta operators looks out the window at the Filipinos waving goodbye and mutters, "I will never talk trash again." And they didn't. To this day, almost none of the operators who were there will speak publicly about the week they got absolutely destroyed by a unit most people have never heard of. The money was donated to an orphanage in Mindanao. The story stayed quiet until now. So what's the real lesson here? It's not that Delta sucked, they didn't. They're still one of the most lethal units in history, but never ever underestimate a group of warriors who've been fighting real terrorists in their own backyard, with almost no budget, for 20 straight years. The Filipinos didn't win because they had better gear. They won because they had no choice but to be better. And sometimes that makes all the difference. If this story blew your mind the way it still blows mine every time I think about it, do 3 things right now. Like this video, drop a comment with 7-0 if you're Team Philippines all the way, and subscribe, because next week I'm dropping the story of the time an Australian SASR troop bet a crate of beer they could outdrink the Gurkhas, and woke up in a ditch missing their eyebrows. You don't want to miss it. See you in the next one.